And we have a guest speaker here today, Julia Campbell, and she will be walking us through some great examples of social media graphics out there, as well as some tips and suggestions that we should keep in mind as we're creating social media graphics for our own purposes, whether it is for your organization, for personal purposes. Maybe you are creating social media graphics for your school or your institution, your college, whatever that might be. So she has some great information here for us. Before we go ahead and get started and introduce Julia, I do want to cover a few housekeeping items. I do want to introduce you to another person here with us today. Her name is Latasha Doyle, and she is my colleague at Easley. She is our editor for our blog and also manages our social media. So feel free to say hello, and thank you, Latasha, in advance for taking the time to join us here today. She will be managing the chat window for us, and so she'll do the best she can to respond to as many of the comments that she can answer. I know some of your questions might be more so for Julia, and if you do have some of those questions, then what you'll want to do is move over to the Q&A section of the platform, and you'll see that there is a Q&A button right underneath the PowerPoint screen that you're seeing. If you click on that link for Q&A, you'll see that there is a place there where you can go ahead and enter any questions that you might have. And that's a really good spot because then they won't get lost in all of the comments from the chat window. Now, next, I do want to point out that we are taking a poll, and this is just helpful to let us know who's actually with us here today, because I know we have people from all over the world and from all different industries and reasons why you want to attend the session. So if you click on that poll link, you'll see that you can go ahead and answer those two questions. So let us know where you're coming in from, if you're a nonprofit organization, or if you are in higher ed, or if you're an educator, or if you're a business professional. You can go ahead and respond there. Thank you so much. I see those responses coming through. Looks like we do have quite a few people from the nonprofit space, some entrepreneurs and small business owners, some professors as well, maybe even some college students. So yeah, are you seeing that as well, Julia?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, great, wonderful. And Julia, you're in from the nonprofit space, so I know that you'll have some great tips. And you know, your information really does go beyond nonprofit individuals. So I think that you'll have some valuable information to share. Now, we also want to know who is familiar with Easelly. And, we have a few people who have never used it. So I'll be sure to at least give you some basic information about Easelly, but feel free to attend any of my other webinar sessions. We do go into Easelly in much greater depth and walk you through the steps of using that tool. And then we also have quite a few people that have used Easelly quite a bit or use it all the time. So thank you so much for your support there. Okay, wonderful. Well, with that, I think it's time to get started, because I know Julie has a lot of great information to share, and I want to make sure I give her plenty of time. So Julia, again, thank you for joining us here today. Yeah, let us know, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you've worked in the nonprofit space, but now you do offer consulting services. So tell us a little bit more about some of the challenges that you've seen with some of your clients, or what you've seen in the past working in the nonprofit space and your experience, and what is really driving you to really share your expertise with others.
I have seen in my work with small business owners and entrepreneurs and nonprofits, the biggest challenge is getting great visuals. So time to manage social media is clearly a huge, huge challenge, and managing all of the different channels and staying on top of all of the changes, but also creating great graphics and photos and visuals to go along with posts is also very challenging. And I'm not a graphic designer at all by trade. I'm much more of a writer. I'm much more of a strategist. I do digital marketing strategy and help people create plans and playbooks for their social media. But I consistently kept finding this one question. I kept finding this one big, huge challenge from most small business owners and nonprofits that I worked with. So I created an ebook, and then I created this presentation to try to walk you through some free and low-cost tools that will help you to get that visual element up, to sort of up your game in the visual space, which is necessary to succeed on social media today.
Yeah, absolutely. And, these really are going to be great tips because like you, my background is in training and being an e-learning specialist and creating materials that people are going to be learning from. And of course, visuals are very important in being able to create that content. And while we may not be sharing all of that content through social media, the tips I think that you have here today will be very valuable in that same capacity. So I really appreciate it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. I'll let you take it away, and I'll keep my eye out for any questions that might be applicable, but I'm going to try and keep most of the questions till the very end because I want to make sure you have plenty of time.
Sure, thank you. So this is what we're going to cover today. I included that image because it's easily created with a lot of the tools that we're going to go over today, the how to create great images that stand out and get noticed on Pinterest. I love that image. So we're going to review some of the tools, some examples, some of the elements that make a great social media graphic and visual. So I don't need to tell you how important visuals are. We process visuals. We're visual learners, a lot of us. A lot of us don't remember things that we've read. We remember things that we've seen and experienced with a great photo. Photos tell 1,000 words. We all know that. But most importantly, beyond philosophy, beyond using visuals, it really has been shown to work in social media engagement. Visuals get 94% more visits and engagement, and 60% of consumers are more likely to click on a business whose images appear in search results. So images are hugely important, but you got to have the right images. You can be a creator or a curator. So creators create original content, original photos, original videos. Curators, they sort of function like a museum curator. They curate the best visuals on the web. Of course, they have permission to do so. They share the best visuals and the best videos with their audience. I think everyone that is in the social media space should be some combination of both. So you don't have to constantly reinvent the wheel, but you do have to add some original visuals to your content marketing strategy. So this is what content creation, a little bit, of course, it's a visual. It's almost an infographic, like an animated infographic. It's the act of finding, grouping, organizing, and sharing the best and most relevant content on a specific issue. So think about it as curating in a museum, the absolute best content. That's for choosing what to curate for your audience. Very, very important. Do not steal images. Do not go to Google Images. Do not right-click on images on websites. However, on Facebook, you can click the share button. That's completely acceptable because it does link back to that person's Facebook page. On Twitter, you can retweet something because it links back to that person's Twitter account. On Instagram, there are apps called, I use Repost, that links back to the original account and gives attribution. That's how you're not going to get into trouble, as long as your image links back to the original creator. If you are curating images, do not steal images. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, we're always reminding people about that as well.
Right.
And so I feel like you can't be told that enough because I know it's so easy to do, but you really need to keep that in mind.
I mean, Beth Cantor, she's fantastic. This link, you'll get the slides afterwards. This is a hyperlink. This is a constantly, constantly updated list of free and low-cost image collections. Getty Images, I know, offer a lot of images for free. iStock Photo, Creative Commons, PhotoPin. You can go to Flickr and use Creative Commons. The only thing I would caution you against is using these images in the way they are intended. So sometimes people put their images out there for free, but they say, oh, you can't use this for an advertisement. You can't use this to sell anything. You can't write on it. You can't alter it. You can't crop it. So make sure that you are using an image that you get correctly. Clearly, if it's an image that you buy, also read the stipulations, because you really might not be able to do as much with it as you think. So that's my little sort of word of warning. Visual brand identity, incredibly, incredibly important. I need to be able to look at a visual or a photo from you and know that it's you. Dunkin' Donuts, I'm in Boston, so clearly I love Dunkin' Donuts and drink it and eat it all the time. So they have such an amazing brand identity. I am telling you, my 2-year-old, when he was 6 months old, would tell you donut, donut if we drove or walked past Dunkin' Donuts, because that was the visual branding, the colors, the logo. It's incredible. McDonald's too. So thinking about that, you might not reach that level of brand identity in your work, but that's sort of the gold standard. And everything that Dunkin' Donuts does with their visuals is reinforcing that brand identity. Same with Intel. They constantly put their logo on things. They use that blue. They use a lot of white. They use a lot of futuristic graphics. Clearly, they do such a great job around that. American Express, they do a lot of photo collages, which I love. Of course, they put their little card in there. Snow Day Essentials, really, really cute visual, but there's very basic, very classic. That's kind of their brand identity. Dove, an aunt is like a second mom. They do a lot of photos where they ask people to tag. They have quotes that, of course, you're going to like. They have these great graphics. You could easily take this photo with your hand and a child's hand, and it's not giving away anyone's identity, and put a blurb over it, and then you have a fantastic graphic. Very warm, very family, very feminine. That's Dove's brand identity. Zappos, very fun, very upbeat, very kind of wacky and quirky. Zappos also does a lot with charities, so it's very upbeat, very positive, but you can tell that it's Zappos. Oreo is probably one of my favorite visual marketers. Not only do they market immediately when something happens. If you all remember that Super Bowl ad when the lights went out and they tweeted, "You can still dunk in the dark," and they created all these graphics around it within like a 5-minute turnaround. It was amazing. But they're very, they have such a great brand. They're really fun. OOTD, hashtag OOTD is outfit of the day. So I thought this was really, really cute. Just putting a scarf around a glass of milk and taking a picture of an Oreo. If you run a bakery, you run anything with food, this would be just such a great idea to steal, this little graphic there. You always want to be thinking of your audience. And I showed this penguin Random House picture because they know their audience. They love books, they love to read, they love literature, they like literary references. They're just really into reading and into physical paper books. So a lot of their graphics and a lot of their visuals are around books, and their audience loves them. Look at over 3,000 people love that, 613 shares. Think about your audience. What do they like? What will resonate with them? What will make them want to share something with their friends? I love this graphic, Social Meowdia explained. I saw it all over the internet, explaining social media through cats. It's pretty incredible. I don't know who doesn't like cats. I know maybe some people don't like cats, but I just thought it was really brilliant, and Avalanche Media came up with it, just playing on the fact that we all like cats on
I know,
social
you can't
media.
go wrong with that.
Right, exactly. And I think it's kind of almost making fun of the fact that cats are so popular, like,
Yeah.
you know, Piano Cat and Grumpy Cat.
Oh, totally.
So what makes a great graphic? Clearly the number one component and characteristic of a great graphic is it catches your eye. We're living in the attention economy. My phone is off right now, but if I were to have it on, like you probably all have your phones right next to you, 20,000 notifications, you probably have browsers open, you're inundated with emails. Every single thing that can compete with our attention is going to be detrimental to you catching someone's eye. So how can you cut through that clutter and really catch someone's eye in just 1 second? I use a lot of nonprofit examples because they do such a great job. I love visuals that have a face, a smiling face, action shots, maybe a little bit of an angle that fit perfectly into social media, that fit perfectly and are clearly sized correctly. Great graphics and visuals convey a story. I'm sure you've all seen these on Facebook. We have a secret. I actually, when I had my second child, really stressed out about how I was going to announce it on social media, and how, like, was I going to do the chalkboard? Was I going to do it with my first child? Was I going to do a balloon? I had a whole Pinterest board. My husband thought I was insane, but it conveys a story that really makes what makes a great visual. How could you tell a little bit of a story with the visuals and the graphics that you're creating and sharing for your audience? This photo clearly tells a story, but it's got the text overlay with a little bit of statistics, a little bit more information, and I will go over some tools where you can do that. I love graphics that are helpful. That's why when you go on Facebook and you see those visuals that are the cooking ones, and they're really quick and you can watch them in 30 seconds and you can save them to your phone, they're helpful. They help you because they show you how to make something. They show you how to cook something. They show you how to do something. Demonstrations, any way that you can be helpful is fantastic and absolutely perfect for your audience. So think about your frequently asked questions in your business. Think about maybe some misconceptions, or think about ways that you can help your customers and clients, and ways that you can create a little infographic type visual to help them. I like this one too. I saw this a lot. I've seen this a lot lately. What to do if you're witnessing Islamophobic harassment. It's just a visual. So rather than someone writing a blog post or telling me what to do, it's just a great visual. It's very helpful. It's clearly interesting to the audience members that it was intended for. Also, eliciting emotion. Surfrider Foundation, they do a fantastic job eliciting emotion. You don't necessarily need to elicit anger. You can elicit happiness or wistfulness or nostalgia, whatever it is that will resonate with your audience, but make sure it's not boring. You don't want to be apathetic. You don't want to be forgotten. I love this one from Best Buddies International. It just tells such a great story within the photo. Also showcasing impact, before and after. There are a million collage apps, and we'll talk about a couple of them, but showcasing your business or your client or your customer or your donor, testimonials, success stories. How can you do kind of before and after in the visuals that you're creating? I love this one from Charity Water. They are the gold standard of social media for nonprofits and for businesses in terms of visual storytelling, creating great graphics and having wonderful, colorful, eye-catching photos. So you should follow them on every social media channel and learn from them. And they get such a great response to everything that they do. Make it shareable. So this goes back to being helpful, to providing value. We share on social media because we want to showcase our values and opinions to other people, but we also share to make ourselves look good. We're like, I'm going to share this because it's going to help somebody out, or I'm going to share this, it's going to be entertaining to someone, or it's going to make someone's day, or it's going to make someone's life a little bit easier. So we are pretty narcissistic in the back of our minds when we share on social media. We share at the end of the day to really make ourselves look good in front of other people. So what kind of content can you create? What kind of visuals can you create that are helpful and useful and valuable that your audience is going to want to share? I love this one. Watch me snip and watch me space bay. This is so funny. It's just a little bit of added humor, and it just is perfect for social media to kind of cut through the clutter and make someone smile. And that really should be the goal. Using infographics. Use infographics. They're so easy to create now, especially with Easelly, but HubSpot has found that they increase the traffic to your website and blog. Searches for infographics have gone up 400%. People are searching like marketing infographics, social media infographic, baking infographic, school infographic. They're searching on those things. I love the infographic of infographics, which I think was really funny, but I do like how it's split up, how it pulls things out, how it highlights things, how your eye tends to go to certain parts of the infographic. Great infographics really contain focused data, like they have a purpose. They clearly have a mission and a purpose. Good design clearly incredibly key, and a viral title. That's what's going to get it shared. That's what's going to get it clicked on. Easelly has the complete infographic checklist for you, and is such a great resource if you are creating infographics. I love the 36 rules of social media. I love the color. I love that it's numbered. I love that it's square, and it easily would fit on any social media site. Sometimes infographics can be a little bit long to share on social media, but you can always share a portion of it and then link back to your site. The whole point is to catch someone's eye and make them want to click on it, make them want to learn more, make them go to your website. The Facebook posting rule, another great one. It's just clearly, it's very branded. It looks, it's got the Facebook colors. You see it and you instantly know what it's about. You want to know, maybe, is it helpful? It's got on the bottom, I do like how it has the website. It has all the attribution, so it can easily be cut and pasted and shared. Some tools, obviously Easelly is my favorite to create infographics. And I love that this infographic that they have on their site, how infographics help you. Eye tracking, get to the point, have a strategy, have targeting. Infographics are something you really should be looking into. Like I said, Google searches of infographics have gone up 400%. People don't like to read, whether we like it or not. They like to see information in a visual format. It's a lot easier to convey. Some other great tools, word clouds. I really like word clouds. You're not going to run into any copyright issues. You don't have to make a word cloud in a cloud shape. You can make a word cloud in a thumbs up shape or an animal shape. A lot of these are completely free. Wordle is one that I've used a lot. You could take reviews that you've received. You could take your thank you notes. You could take words on a blog post that you wrote and just make a word cloud. If you don't know how word clouds work, the word that is used the most tends to be the biggest. And it's just really an interesting thing to see. If, say, you took all your Yelp reviews and you put them into a word cloud, it would be interesting to see what the biggest word was that popped up. But it's just a great, quick little visual you can make, and you're not going to run into trouble with copyrights, and you don't even need a great photo. Same with quotes. Quotes, you can never go wrong. Make sure that you kind of source the quote. There's nothing worse than if I see a quote that's attributed to Maya Angelou, but I know that it's not really Maya Angelou, or just, do a little bit of research before creating a quote. Or maybe you have a quote from a customer. Maybe you have a quote from your executive director. Maybe you have a quote from a client that you want to showcase. These are free tools. You can create a Facebook cover photo with a quote. You can create a perfect little square graphic. You just type it in. You go through their backgrounds and their fonts, and they put it all together for you, and it ends up looking fantastic. To enhance photos, so you have a photo already, like the Color Run had a photo, and they wanted to just put text over it. So many options. Use Chisel is great. I use PowerPoint a lot. So I actually use PowerPoint. I take the photo and put it in PowerPoint. Then I put a text box over it. Then I highlight the whole entire slide, and I right click and I say save as picture. So it's just a little neat trick. If you have PowerPoint, if you're really familiar with PowerPoint, you can easily create these graphics in PowerPoint. PicMonkey is something you can get on your phone. Incredibly easy to use. There's an app, if you want to use one on your phone, called Over. Quickly and easily puts text just over your photos. If you've ever seen on Facebook, someone has, my son is 2 months old today, and there's text over a photo, it's probably used with either PicMonkey or Over. Really, really fast and easy ways to do it. Some great photo apps for you. Watermarking images, that's Marksta. Shapeable is so great. Word Photo, that's the one in the center, and that's kind of like a word cloud, but you put words over a photo. Just really neat ways to kind of catch the eye and be seen in the news feed.
Yeah, there's so many options out there,
Oh my God,
one
crazy.
Of them must be right for you. So it's really great.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you my two favorites. So my absolute favorite tool is Canva. Now, I don't know if you've used Canva. let me know in the chat box, because if you have, you are guaranteed to be a convert. Yeah, love Canva. Canva is the bomb. Canva is the best. Yes, it is like life changing. I need to be an evangelist for Canva. It's free. First of all, you do have to pay for photos. So like these, I created these two. I paid $1 for the photo, $1. And I don't get into trouble. I know that I can use it and edit it and put text on it and use it on my blog and use it on social media. I pay $1 per stock photo usually. You don't have to use their stock photos. You can import your own photos. It is drag and drop and so easy to use, and they have a million templates. I absolutely encourage you to create, if you're creating blog graphics and social media graphics. I mean, and they have a mobile app now, I think. So it's just my personal favorite. Let me see. And then my favorite, and I created that. Anything you see on any of my blog posts or social media sites are definitely created either with Canva or with WordSwag. This is a mobile app. It's $3.99, so it's not free, but it's completely worth it. You type in the quote and who said it, and then you just kind of swipe through different layouts, different fonts, different formats until you find the one you want, and it's so quick and easy. I took both of these quotes when I was at a conference, and I shared on my Facebook page to say I was at this conference, and rather than typing, the quote into Facebook, I created a great little graphic that was totally, free to share and use and spread widely. Fits on Instagram. I love WordSwag. And Prisma. I don't know if you've used Prisma. This is another one that is taking off in popularity. You have to have your own photo, but it adds a filter over the photo of famous artists and creates like a work of art from the photo. So it's just something neat, something that catches the eye. Like this photo of the girls making duck face, like that would not be particularly interesting to me if I saw it on my newsfeed. But if I saw what's the left-hand side, I would think, whoa, that is really cool. What is that? It would catch my eye a little bit more.
Yeah, who created that?
Right. So Prisma, but also I warn you, if you download Prisma, you need like 4 hours. You will go through every photo in your phone. You will go through all the filters. I played with it for about 2 hours one day. It's just addicting. It's amazing. It's really great. So, this is you can still dunk in the dark. One of my absolute favorite marketing campaigns, created completely on the fly and just very representative of the brand voice and the visual brand voice of Oreo. So to wrap up, nothing is easy. I'm not to say this is easy. There are all these tools out there, and certainly we could go through each tool and take an hour webinar to go through how to use each tool. But the most important thing is to change this culture. I think that small business owners, nonprofits, solo entrepreneurs, we get so wrapped up in putting out fires that we don't spend a lot of time strategically thinking about our visual brand and our brand voice. So we need to start changing that. We need to really make sure that our stuff is seen above our competitors, but also that we do have some consistency running through what we create. We all need to start thinking in these, micro content terms. People access social media on their phones. They might click off and go to a website, but more likely they're going to stay in the social media platform that they're in. So how can you convey your message, get through, and create some engagement and build that relationship, with your community? I am an RPCV. I was in Senegal from 2000 to 2002, and I personally think that the Peace Corps does a fantastic job on their graphics and on their marketing. The difference between a career and a purpose is 8,000 miles, and they clearly have fantastic visuals and photos to show, but they do a lot of advertising in this way, very simple, not cluttered with text overlay on a photo. But when you are creating graphics, you're creating visuals, you have to be creative, you have to be interesting, you have to always have in the back of your mind sharing. Is this shareable? Is someone going to want to share this? Is someone going to be interested enough and love it enough to share it with their community? So the other thing I would leave you with is that these are all tools, but you and your story, that is what really counts. So getting on Twitter, posting Facebook, exploring Canva, that's not a marketing strategy. Those are tools. Those are means to an end, which is telling your story and connecting with customers. So I do have this free ebook. It's available at this link. When you get the slides, it goes a little bit more in depth into what we were talking about today. And if you have questions afterwards, you can follow up. But now I give it back to you, Dinah, and we're right on time, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we always try to keep our sessions to about 30 minutes or so, because people, start to drop off. And so thank you so much for covering so much. It was jam-packed in just a short 30-minute session. So as I was taking a quick look at the chat window, I saw a few questions as to whether or not we'll be sharing the slides. And we will be sharing the slides. We will have them available publicly through SlideShare, and we will be sending an email out to everyone who registered for today's webinar. So even if you weren't here in attendance, we'll at least send out all of the details out, and we'll have a link to the webinar replay as well as the slides, just a brief look at the notes, but all of those details will be there, as well as links to Julia's website and her free ebook. So thank you so much. And thank you, Julia, for such great tips. And I think they're all tips that we can all keep in mind regardless, if you're sharing on social media, you're creating a presentation live, these are all going to be helpful tools beyond social media. So it's very appreciative. And with that, what I'll do is I do want to share a few details about Easelly, because while we have quite a few Easelly customers on our webinar here today, I know that some people are completely new to it. So in case you're interested, I do want to give you those details, and then I will take a look at some of the questions and see if there are any of those questions that Julia can answer for us. So Julia, I'll give you a few seconds to take a just brief look at the questions on your end, but I will ask some of those questions from you, and I'm going to share my Easelly screen here.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with Easelly, it is an infographic tool that is a drag and drop editing tool. There are various templates that you can choose from, either for, professionally designed templates, and then also you can take a look at some of the existing infographics that are built by the Easelly community and available. So you can customize those templates, you can drag and drop objects to that design, and you can also upload your own images as well, and you'll have access to various design tools along with that. And it will give you the opportunity to save any infographics that you create, as well as being able to share those through social media. And in some instances, because I know we do have some teachers on the call here today and might be working with Easelly in the classroom with their students, you can quickly present an infographic to your students, or students can present their infographic in front of the class right from that design editor. So that's a very helpful tool as well. And let me just go ahead and give you a little bit more details as well on what that looks like for you. Now, I have done various webinars that walks you through how to use Easelly Live, but there are various templates that you can choose from. The basic account gives you a few templates to choose from, but if you have a pro account, of course, you get various more templates to work from, and they can be health related, related to financial, infographics, real estate. So you have a lot of options there. And then also you have various objects to choose from with a pro account. And so you can drag and drop objects into your infographic. There are thousands and thousands of objects. And so you really can find the right object for your theme and what you're creating. You can also add stock photos. If you have a pro account, you'll have access to thousands of stock photos to choose from. And again, going back to, what Julia was saying, with the paid account, they're already paid, so you don't have to worry about adding attribution to any of these images. They're already paid for, so it's very easy to just go ahead and add them into your infographic through that paid account. So it saves you a lot of time in having to worry about that because they're already a part of that paid subscription. And just as an example, we did use Easelly, of course, to create our banner image for today's webinar. And we often do that for our banner images using the stock images that are paid for through the pro account, as well as being able to upload our own images as well. Okay, so if you are interested in trying Easelly, we do offer a free 14-day trial. In the webinar view, just underneath the PowerPoint presentations, you'll see that there is a button. If you click on that, you'll see that there is a link to a free trial. So if you're interested, feel free to go ahead and click on that link. You get to try out all of the pro features. And if you are interested in moving forward with a paid account, you'll see that the regular business account per user is only $36 a year. That gives you access to all of those stock images, so you don't have to worry about paying per image. A really great feature. And if you are a nonprofit or a teacher, feel free to contact us directly and you'll be able to get a 50% discount. I apologize, it looks like the PowerPoint presentation didn't quite download properly, or the view is a little off, but my email is Dinah@Easelly. You can also contact our support team and we'll be able to give you information on how you can get that discount. So we have a lot of great offers, of course, for our nonprofit space. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave up our contact information here. Again, you can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter, Pinterest. You can email us. So we are more than happy to help. And I am just so thankful for Julia being here today. And I appreciate that we are in your list of tools that you recommend to all of your clients and customers that you work with on your end. So with that, thank you, Julia. Let me go ahead and take a look at some of the questions that we have here and see if there's anything that we can address. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with, the proper sizing of graphics for display in various social media formats. Do you have any recommendations for that?
The sizing, well, it changes all the time. The Facebook page layout just changed again, I think today. And it just changes so often that is really something that I would recommend Googling. Social media image sizes 2017. Like I have some infographics on Pinterest. I have a visual marketing board on my Pinterest account that does share some of the sizing, but it changes just so frequently. However, a lot of the social media platforms will size things automatically, but just be cognizant of how people look at social media. They predominantly look at it from mobile devices. So if you have this graphic with this tiny font, maybe it's easy to see on desktop, it might not be easy to see on your mobile. So no matter what kind of phone you have, if you have a smartphone, make sure you're always looking at it on your smartphone and making sure that it's not cut off, making sure that it's not truncated or that it's not blurry or pixelated or that kind of thing. But I wish there was one sort of size to rule them all.
Yeah,
but
and
there really is not.
Yeah, and things really are changing with like some images being in HD. So, it's just so tricky. So it's definitely something to kind of just stay on top of or double check before you post, especially if you haven't posted something in a while.
I'm going to write in the chat box, Social Media Examiner. It's socialmediaexaminer.com. They're the absolute best resource. They, first of all, are such an amazing resource. They publish 1 or 2 blog posts a day that are deep dives into how to do social media, but they are 100% the most updated information. And they're my go-to. Someone just asked me about hyperlinks and Instagram stories, and I wasn't sure if it was open to everybody, and I went to Social Media Examiner. immediately. Sort of like the encyclopedia of social media.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'll have to check them out. I think that will be very helpful. So, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the next question. Um, let's see. Are there good ways to advertise to the right crowd?
Oh, yes. Well, to advertise, if you are using social media, I absolutely, and I do not work for Facebook or Twitter or any, I mean, I work completely 100% for myself and I don't get kickbacks. People sometimes think I work for Facebook, which is funny, but I would recommend at least $20 a month in Facebook ads, because if you're just posting to Facebook, you're really kind of posting in a void, and a lot of your fans and followers are not seeing your posts. But if you even just spend $20 a month, you can get in front of the right people, because I think the best part of social media advertising, as opposed to television or radio or newspaper, is that you can target it. So I'm 39, I'm a mom of two, I'm self-employed, I live in the suburbs, I'm interested in women's issues, I'm interested in children's issues and sports and things like that. You could target an ad directly to me. If I'm your customer, you can find that information out on Facebook. So just using that even $20 a month and targeting your ads to your exact customer. So you might have to create a few different ads because you might have a few different subsets of customers and a few different services or a few different products that you are promoting. So you'd have to create an ad that goes to dads, or an ad that goes to teens, or an ad that goes to grandparents, or whatever, whoever your audience is. But I really recommend using Facebook and Instagram ads. You can set it all up via Facebook. Twitter, I'm not 100% sure. Twitter really works for informational products, webinars, tech, and digital tools. I haven't seen the benefit from my clients, if they are small businesses, using Twitter to kind of drive foot traffic to their store or drive traffic to their e-commerce page. Facebook, I think, is much better for that for whatever reason. But just kind of know the landscape and really look at the custom audiences you can build. And there's lots of free resources out there, like Social Media Examiner, how to create a great Facebook ad, how to target the right audience on Facebook and Instagram. But personally, I really think that it's the best tool. And it's a really powerful tool when used correctly.
Yeah, and that's really good to keep in mind in terms of, going back to what you had suggested earlier, like know who your audience is, what they're going to like, and then find the correct platform. You can always post it across, but you may find that one platform might work a little bit better than the other for certain images.
Absolutely. For instance, if it's a professional conference or an event, you might want to check out LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has the same exact targeting capabilities. So thinking about the different platforms, the people that are there, and how the platforms are used, because they're not all the same.
Yeah, great tip. Okay, another question here, and I'm not sure if you have a method for this, but do you have a suggested way of tracking your purchased images for reference in case someone comes back later and tries to say that you didn't purchase it?
Oh, well, on Canva, I mean, really, I only go through Canva at this point, because it's a place where I can easily track it all, because I have the receipts and then you can just look at your account in Canva. I would put them in Dropbox, and I would maybe put a note and save save your receipts. So if you have Outlook or Google Gmail, like I do, put a label or make a folder of receipts. And I have so many folders, but I have a receipts folder, then I have like business expenses, then I have like social media advertisements. So just make a folder in your email for all the receipts in case you need to go back or print them out if that's what you want to do. And I would either save them on your computer or save them to Dropbox or Google Docs in a folder, and maybe label them, purchased on February 2nd, 2017 for blog. That you could call the image that, and then that's kind of an easy reference for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Google Drive is also a good resource for that. And, definitely creating a folder. I know some people may only have everything in one folder and just search across everything, which is fine now that we have those search tools, but creating a folder and managing it in that way, whether you're using, Google Drive or, your email account, I think can definitely be helpful.
Yeah, and make sure you're entering it into your expenses. For all you solo entrepreneurs out there like me, I use FreshBooks. I love FreshBooks for my accounting. And once again, I don't get any kickbacks for saying that. I just personally love them. But they have an app where I can easily enter any expense immediately. And then I can search in FreshBooks. So I can search for how much money I spent on images and where the images came from. So I can search on that at the end of the year.
Okay, that's a great tip. It looks like I know we do have quite a few small business owners here, and entrepreneurs. So that's a helpful tip there. I'll also mention, with the images that are in Easelly, because they're already paid for through the subscription, you don't have to worry about the terms and conditions there. So that is one thing that gives you peace of mind through our tool there. Okay, so is there any research on the importance of using GIFs in content marketing? And I always have to think hard about how that's pronounced, because I always want to pronounce it the other way.
Oh God, it's a fight. My husband says GIF. I say GIF.
I'm always double thinking it.
GIFs are amazing. There's, you know what? That's something I should add to this presentation. There are a million GIF creators. There's also something called Boomerang app. It's completely free and it's used within Instagram, but you don't necessarily need Instagram, and it kind of creates like a GIF, like a burst of photos, almost like a GIF. Those are they're hugely popular and people absolutely love them. So Giphy, GIPHY.com. They have a creator. There's GIF creator.com. I think GIFs are amazing. I love them. If you have it takes a really good eye to create a really good GIF, I think. I have not created any of my own. I certainly go to Giphy and find some and share them all the time, because other people just do such a great job creating them that I don't feel like I need to create my own. But yeah, I think that's a great point that we didn't touch on. GIFs are amazing.
Yeah, that's a great question. And, another way that I've really started to see it and can appreciate just from my own background is when companies, maybe like a tech company, or if you have a product, if you just create a quick loop of a step on your website or your product, if it's just a little quick snippet, that can also be helpful. So of course you have to create that on your own by, doing a screencast of your website or whatever you're looking to show, but keeping in mind that it does need to be a quick step in a process. So I've seen that used really well as well. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at another question here. Any plans of making the objects interactive by adding links to different parts of an infographic? And I know Latasha answered that already. We do have access to adding hyperlinks to images and text and any of the graphs or, pie graphs that you enter into the infographic. So you can certainly hyperlink, and then you can also add YouTube videos as well. So as long as you have the URL for YouTube, you can embed a YouTube video into your infographic. The thing is you just need to keep in mind, of course, how you're going back to how you're going to share it. If it's going to be through a browser window, then you'll be able to go ahead and view that YouTube video. Or if you're embedding the infographic onto your website or your classroom website, then you can view the video. But if you're going to be sharing a PDF view of your infographic or a download image of it, then you won't be able to see that YouTube. So you just have to think about, does it make sense whether or not that YouTube video is going to work? But that capability is in there. Okay.
Great.
Someone, of course,
questions.
Yeah. Someone just wants to know if there will be a copy of the slideshow. Yes, we'll be sending a link to the webinar notes, the webinar replay. So yes, we'll be doing that. A lot of Canva users as well. And let's see, if we link to the Amazon page, can we use the Amazon image of an item or a product? I'm not sure about that, and I'm not sure if you have an answer for that, but maybe that's something we can research and then just come back and answer it.
Well, I think it depends where you share it. So if you are sharing a link like to a news article or a product on Facebook, it pulls up a thumbnail, and that's perfectly fine to use because you're linking back to the original source. So I think and Twitter does that too. It pulls up a thumbnail. I think LinkedIn pulls up a thumbnail. So as long as you're not right-clicking and cutting and pasting and using the image in a way it's not intended, if you are pasting the whole link and the little thumbnail gets automatically pulled up, then it's fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, and yeah, I would think if it goes back to that Amazon page and there's a link back to the product so that it can be purchased, then that would make sense. So, okay, wonderful. I think that's the last question. I know that there may have been some questions in the chat window, but there are just so many comments in there that we can't necessarily scroll through those. And I hope that maybe Latasha had an opportunity to answer those questions for you through the text. But I think that is it for now. Yeah, and Latasha's confirming that she thinks she got all of those. So that's wonderful. Well, thank you. I just want to thank you again, Julia, for taking the time out of your busy day and your busy schedule. I know you have a lot of clients out there, so I appreciate you taking the time to tell us a little bit more about creating the social media graphics and some tips on how to get started today. Don't forget to download Julia's ebook. We'll be presenting a link to that through the webinar notes as well, and we'll give you links to all of the other resources. So thank you, thank you.